So hello, everyone, in person and on Zoom. The topic of our talk is Principles of Self-Efficacy and Students as Partners in Spanish as a Foreign Language Classroom. And in our project, we are, So in our project, we are 3 student investigators, myself, Arameh, Dewi, and Richard, and our supervisor is Dr. Ana García-Allén. So as you see in the overview, we start with a brief introduction. We go through the literature review, methodology, results and discussions, and finally conclusion and next steps.
So in terms of the introduction, what we can see here is that our study aims to correlate 2 pedagogical frameworks. The first one being the students as partners approach, and the second, self-efficacy theory.
The students as partners is understood as the collaborative work between individuals of various academic stages, such as undergraduate, graduate students, staff, instructors, etc., in order to achieve a common goal.
And in the teaching and learning process, self-efficacy refers to informed judgment of one's capabilities as an instructor to make decisions related to course learning outcomes, student engagement, and motivation.
So in terms of the literature review, we have divided it into 2 broad sections based on each pedagogical practice. The first one being students as partners. In terms of the framework, we see here that Beauville et al., as well as Mercer-Mapstone et al., define it as guidance for establishing, sustaining, and extending student-staff partnerships as a way of enhancing student engagement. What we see here as a result are professional development opportunities for students at the undergraduate level that they would often not receive. And some core values that are integral for these relationships have to do with authenticity, inclusivity, reciprocity, among various others. In terms of some challenges in the framework, we have divided it into 2 different categories. The first one being the perception of staff towards students. So staff may perceive students as not valuable enough, or that they do not know enough to teach classes since they have not had that experience or exposure at the undergraduate level. As a result, they may be seen as a hindrance to the collaboration rather than a benefit. In terms of addressing and identifying these power imbalances, we have noted here that instructors may have somewhat of a resistance to change or innovation, and we can address these through addressing these 4 points, such as student enjoyment, relatedness to peers, content-related support, and emotional support. The collaborators in this framework play an integral role. In terms of the student, they may be seen as one of 4 roles, either as consultants, representatives, or in the case of the present study, they are seen as co-researchers and pedagogical co-designers. Instructors, on the other hand, are invited to extend the partnership with students, and they may be do as such by what Healy et al. Suggests, setting a clear selection criteria, determining explicit desired goals, and having patience with the intended outcomes and the reality of the situation, as the outcomes may not be what one expects at the beginning of the partnership.
So unfortunately, the body of literature related to the field of self-efficacy in the Spanish language classroom is limited. However, I'm going to share with you 3 most recent studies in this field. The first one is the study of 25 Hispanic heritage Spanish speakers and language learners, and the findings of Torres et al. Studies reveals that heritage language learners find difficulties using accent rules, correct spelling, and conjugations in Spanish. The other study is about the power of belief, Spanish teachers' sense of efficacy, and student performance on the national Spanish examinations. And as it is expected, the study shows that there is a positive correlation between Spanish teachers' sense of self-efficacy and their students' scores. So this study suggests that teachers' beliefs play an important role in student achievement in Spanish language learning. And the last study about the Spanish version of self-efficacy for writing scale is a study done by Ramos, Villagrasa et al. It also shows that self-efficacy for writing was again positively correlated with general self-efficacy and academic achievement. Also, the study provides valuable insights into measuring self-efficacy for writing and Spanish-speaking individuals and highlights the importance of addressing this construct in educational and professional setting. So, according to Bandura, there are 4 sources of self-efficacy. Mastery experiences refers to successfully completing tasks or achieving goals. Vicarious learning occurs when individuals observe others successfully performing tasks or overcoming challenges. Verbal persuasion is all verbal or non-verbal messages received from others that affect self-efficacy beliefs. And finally, emotional and physiological states can influence one individual's self-efficacy beliefs. In our study, we refer to them in our methodology to examine how they are present in the Spanish as a foreign language class.
So this then brings us to the focus of the present study, which is to address a current gap in the literature regarding the intersections between the students as partners framework and self-efficacy theory. More importantly, our study aims to address the gap that exists with both of these pedagogical practices in relation to the Spanish as a foreign language classroom. So this brings us to our research questions. The first overarching question has to do with how does a students as partners experience influence undergraduate Spanish internship students in their own development of self-efficacy. The second one is how effective is the students as partners framework in Spanish as a foreign language classrooms from the undergraduate internship students' perspective. So then as part of our methodology, our research context has to do with undergraduate internship students and their own development of self-efficacy as modeled by instructors. With regard to the participant pool, as of now, 8 have been recruited for part 1. However, initial contact has been made with 15. And these participants are comprised of Spanish undergraduate internship students at Western University. The research design is twofold. We first start off with part 1, which is the online survey administered through Qualtrics, and part 2, which consists of an online focus group that will be done via Zoom. So here you can see an example of one of the questions in the online survey. The online survey aims to provide quantitative data in the form of multiple choice and Likert scale questions, and this is the current phase of the study. The second part of the study, which will be done at a later date, consists of the online focus group, and these questions are delivered orally in qualitative formats, which means that in this part, we will be gathering open-ended responses from students related to students as partners or self-efficacy theory.
So, the ongoing pilot study on principles of self-efficacy and students as partners in the Spanish language classroom is currently in data collection and analysis phase. Initial observations from the collected data indicate valuable insights into the research topic. However, it is important to interpret these preliminary findings cautiously and consider that the study's limitations. As the data collection and analysis phase progress, more robust findings are expected, and upcoming focus group discussion will provide additional depth and insight into the study. The research aims to contribute significantly to the field and guide future investigations in the area of self-efficacy and students as partners in the field of Spanish.
Here you can see the results, the students' results regarding the implementation of the students as partners and the implementation of the self-efficacy principle in the course, as well as their performance in the Spanish course when answering students' questions, and also their perception regarding the number of instructors teaching in a course. So gray and orange represent the majority of responses. These statements, these results, they show the students' responses regarding each statement and regarding each category. For the statement number 1, it is related, the category that is related to statement number 1 is the experience, the mastery experiences. As for the statement 2, it is related to the sub-principles such as respect, reciprocity, and shared responsibility. And for the statement number 3, it has to do with the classroom setting. Regarding the results of statements 4, 5, and 6, 87.5% of students strongly agreed with the fact that they would indeed recommend more undergraduate students to get involved in their program, working collaboratively with faculty members. Also, 62.5% strongly agreed that they will want to continue working with teaching assistants or instructors in the future. Whereas the 50%, they just disagreed with the fact that they wouldn't see themselves as working just as students. As for the discussion, some of the benefits that we found in these results have to do with the development and increase of self-efficacy due to partnerships, the internship students' knowledgeability and confidence with the course content, and the promotion of a respectful and reciprocal partnership between partners. Regarding the challenges based on our results, one participant so far has demonstrated a negative reaction towards the implementation of the submodel and its relation to self-efficacy theory, which is inconclusive so far because we are in the first stage of our pilot study. However, well, overall, like some students, they have enjoyed their experience. However, despite the fact that only one student mentioned that he did not enjoy very much this experience, this is a great opportunity for us to keep investigating about this research. And we might consider some reasons for these negative attitudes towards the submodel, such as the students' perception regarding the staff perspective of partnerships with students due to their lack of experience in their academic field, and also the power dynamics.
So this brings us to our conclusions. Our conclusions are divided into 2 categories, the first one being students as partners. So what we see with this model is a potential engagement for future student cohorts, as well as an increase in student retention. We also see with these partnerships that students are allowed to develop professional development skills and as well as pedagogical skills during their undergraduate careers. And finally, with linking the SAP model with self-efficacy theory, the result is that traditional ways of teaching and learning a foreign language are challenged. With regard to self-efficacy theory, what we have noticed thus far is that instructors are perceived as role models of self-efficacy. Students develop their own sense of self-efficacy through vicarious learning. This means that as self-efficacy increases, students often exhibit heightened academic performance and persistence. What this means is that students are more likely to put in increased effort and persistence towards achieving their goals in the classroom if they see this instructor with a heightened sense of self-efficacy.
And regarding our next steps and future work, in order to create more collaborative spaces for partnership and student retention, we would like to mention that it is important to expand the study to conclude forthcoming cohorts of Spanish undergraduate internship students, as well as continuing with study protocols and invite more participants to our online focus group. Also, expanding the data collection methods to gather qualitative and quantitative data regarding the instructor's perspective. And finally, recruiting more participants from other universities across Ontario in order to have more students' responses regarding the teaching experience at the undergraduate level.
So
Thank you.
Thank you for listening to our talk.